Onno, thank you for accepting to be part of our BAM Connect podcast. Please tell us something about you, about your family, and your business, especially your business in Romania, Turbocam.
About myself, I'm 61, married. We have at the moment two children in the house, but in total we had eight foster children and one biological daughter. Most of the foster children have left the house, but one is still there. That's been part of our family life for the last 25 years. I live in the Netherlands. I work here for Turbocam since 1999, so it's almost like 23, 24 years. It's been quite a journey that I had to go through. The Turbocam plant in Romania was part of a vision God gave me already back in '96 when I was working for another company, an engineering company. We had quite a success what we're doing. Everything was fine, and I was in a very good position. But then felt very, let's say, unhappy about the future, because I felt, is this it? And then God put on my heart really to use my gifts, my skills, something that I've really felt He's given me to work with, like a talent. My talents is maybe a better word to say, to work with. And I remember writing down in '96 on the list was using my talents for the kingdom in countries like Romania, and there were a few other countries there as well that were on the list where I felt this is where my heart is. And that's the initial thought, initial start of the idea of starting in Romania. When I joined Turbocam, it's a mission-driven organization. It's an organization that really wants to empower people, and through the work and expressing kingdom values. After a few years working for them, the time was there to reach out and to the idea, the vision, and then at the same time, the owner of the company, Adrian Buhai, did ask me whether I had any further ideas and contacts for Eastern Europe, and in particular Romania. So two things came together: his desire to do something in Eastern Europe, my heart, my vision. I wanted to use my talents also for this region, and that's how we felt we would start the research on finding something as a starter. You need something to start with, and I started to check around in our churches, network of churches here, whether there was somebody there who was familiar with Romania. I met a guy who had actually a machine shop in Cluj. He was a Dutch guy, two Dutch guys, and they had a machine shop in Cluj-Napoca. So we thought, wow, that's a good fit. And we went to Cluj together, Marian and myself. We looked at the facility, and after a while we felt it's not going to work. It was an existing company. The owners, one was a believer, was a Christian, the other wasn't. And also the product line, it was very simple. But God has then put us already into Romania. We were moving around, we were speaking to people, we were praying, we were kind of looking for answers and directions. And through contact in Cluj-Napoca, we asked the question if they could find a manager for us to start a new company in Romania, because we felt it was key to start with a guy that was a believer, and I was technical, and he would be able to, and reliable. So we're looking into a church network, reliable guy that could help us to set up a company. The question was, could you ask around in your family of churches, in your circle, your network, if there's anybody that can help us? So they sent one to Tegemoris. It just happened to be that a guy called s01e04 was preaching there on that Sunday. And at the end of the service, this guy and said, "I've been sent by so-and-so. There's an American company that is looking to set up a facility here in Tegemoris. And we're really looking for somebody that can support a new adventure. It's a kingdom company with biblical values, and s01e04, who was there in the service, he felt really this is me. And the journey is very, very important to understand for those who listen, because he got in contact with us, and we decided to meet in Budapest, in Hungary. And in Budapest, I flew to Budapest. He drove from Tegemoris actually he lives in Turnhoven. He drove from Turnhoven to Budapest. But it was snow, it was icy, it was winter time, and halfway through, the car got slipped off the road. Car was total loss. He couldn't use it anymore. So he had to phone another guy who picked him up, and then he drove home to Budapest. I got in late, but we met and had a good time together. So this was the first kind of indication, it wasn't going to be easy. A few months later, we met in Amsterdam. Marion was there with me, and he drove to Amsterdam. We met, and we said, if God is in this, let's do it. I think it was early 2007.
Can you tell us something about your mission, or why Turbocam Romania exists?
Let me start with Turbocam International. So the mission is clearly also explained on our website, has three main focuses. One is honor God, create wealth for its employees, and support Christian ministry. I think the most important is the honoring God in everything we do. In other words, we feel that we are created by Him, and through the workplace and through the things we do, we honor Him, and also create employment, because to employ people is probably one of the most greatest things to do, when you can employ people and when you can provide income for a family. And that also has been a driver for me to start thinking about Romania, because what I felt was that also at that time is we were sending a lot of aid to Romania, a lot of stuff that was collected here, shipped to Romania, and was given free to people. This was after the fall of communism. But I felt, the best thing really is to employ people, to give them dignity so they can make their own living. We can give them a good job. And that was really what was driving me to come to Romania, to be a blessing for the nation.
Can you tell us something about your beneficiaries? Who are your customers? And also, I would love to hear about your employees.
We currently are producing components for three major customers. One is Siemens Energy, and they have facilities in Sweden and in UK. We make components for them for their gas turbine blades. We also make components for turbochargers for a company called Cummins Turbocharger. These components go to the UK and the US. And the third one is Pratt & Whitney, who's an aero engine manufacturer who produces aero engines, for instance, for Airbus. And we make parts for them. that go through our US division and finally end up in these engines. With respect to our employees, we started with a core people. We felt it was very important to be believers. So we started with Sorin and then Paul Sorossi, who was the second I met. And then we had a Dutch guy called Marco, who was a believer. He lived in Courten, which is a neighboring village. With a core team, we worked very hard to set up the business, and through these people, they connected us with other people in their villages where they lived, and then gradually we were bringing in people, believers as well as non-believers. It's not a must to be a believer. We actually enjoy having non-believers in our company so we can express the love of Christ through the way we do business. So we have a mixture. We started with 5 and we now have over 100.
What kind of problem do you solve and what kind of solution do you offer for them?
The parts we make is all kind of designed by them, so we make according to the print. The problems we solve are often lead time. I would say lead time, quality, and price. So our price is favorable, our lead time is good, and our quality should be outstanding.
It's any way that you connect with these customers and they can experience the kingdom value that...
I think there's the various levels. The first thing that I want to mention is every time when we go and are introduced with a new customer, we tell them who we are, and we show them, and our mission statement, and say, when you're talking to Turbocam, I represent Turbocam, I really want you to know that this is our mission of the company. So we want to be very clear and open. So we do that to every major company, every customer, because we feel it's important because a customer is something that you start a relationship with. It's not like you sell one item, at least not in our industry, that you sell one item and that's it. No. It's a relationship. You're building something together, and so in order to do the transparency right at the beginning, we tell them, here's our mission statement, and some react on it, others say nothing. Some say, oh, that's nice, and then very few would really start a discussion. They just I feel that they respect who we are. We operate in a very transparent way, where our customers, we are always open in the way what we do, and our pricing, and our quality. I think that's very much appreciated, but that's how we operate. We also, in our industry, we tell when something is wrong, which is not always very common. But if we have dimensions out of tolerance, for instance, in parts we make, we're very clear on that. And yeah, that's how we operate, and that's the value that I think we bring to our customer.
What other group do you serve there?
We started an initiative which was called in the beginning Roman Woodworks. The reason was I see it as a spin-off, as something that we are able to facilitate because we're a company, we are established, we have financial strength, and we can use that to go and see if we can bless others. So we started in 2013, I think, the first discussions about setting up something for street children. And that idea grew into something that we called at that time Roman Woodworks. And really the idea is to create jobs for, I would say, disadvantaged or people that would be very difficult finding a job. That's how we started. Now, and at the moment it's called Recycle Art. It's been rebranded, and it's gone from 2 or 3. Now we have 7 or 8, 7 people, I think, and they produce furniture. Another employment development that we initiated, we also started another division, a heat treatment division in Akatsar, which is like half an hour away from Tegemoerish. Again, an opportunity we saw to add something onto what we're already doing for our customers, employ more people. So they now employ about 15 or 18 people there in the facility in Akatsar. And our desire, our hope is that we multiply that activity into more initiatives.
Tell us something about your channels.
Normally, the way I operate is that I use existing contacts, or I use contacts that I pick up from trade shows, from exhibitions, and I just follow up. I call them and see if I can make an appointment, and then from there we show what we do. And that's how I got into the businesses that we created in Romania in the first instance with Siemens. I just went there. I had the opportunity to represent Turbocam, which is a name in itself. So went to see them, explained our mission, explained what we're doing in Romania, and that's how it started with inquiries. You have to understand, in our line of business, it's a very long process. So sometimes it takes a year to develop something from this initial part of the inquiry to an order. So that's how we work. It's another advantage of being part of a big global company. I work with my colleagues in the UK and the US that will kind of subcontract work to us in Romania. And that's helpful. We work for them.
How do you recruit the current employees?
It's all done by the local management. I don't get involved, but the way it works is by recommendation. We usually go and make aware of those who work for us and say, we're looking for more people. And then this guy brings a neighbor, and the other guy brings a friend, and the other guy brings a student mate from college and say, I know this guy is. So that's how we grew, really. We grew by recommendation. The good part about recommendation is that people will not recommend somebody who isn't a right character. The bad part is that you have to be careful that you don't end up with a clan of all the same people, so from the same village. We also go to universities. They have annual days where companies can present themselves to recruit. So we go up, we show what we do, and people get in touch with us from there.
What kind of relationship they are developing with the employees and how they help them to grow?
The relationship we have with our workers has changed a little bit, because when we are small, when you have 5 people, it feels like a family. We share everything. Everybody by name. Their families. Their wives, children they have, and so forth. When you grow, you have 5, 10, 15, 25. All of a sudden, before you know it, you have 100 people. You get into a situation where, at least from the senior management level, from the level that I operate, I don't know everybody. So I have to go by what our managers on the shop floor communicate to us about these people. But most of we're trying to keep that family feel. It's not easy, but especially when the numbers go up, because if the numbers go up, you need more structure. You need to put things in place, because not everything goes automatic then.
Do they have any opportunities to develop themselves?
It depends on the initiative of the person. We see a number of categories, but one category is people that are eager to learn and want to move on and want to, typically driven by, also making more money, but they want to move on and they really want to learn. There's others who are on a steady state. They say, well, I'm an operator of a machine, I make money, I do some overtime, some extra money. I think this is a Romanian thing. In the villages, they have side businesses, they have a garden, they sell flowers, they grow vegetables, they make furniture, all sorts of things. I can't say it's one, it's one approach. We have different people that we work with.
What kind of relationship you develop with your customers, and what are you doing to grow in this relationship?
That's a very good question, because the way I've been brought up in the business, I really always learned it's very important to maintain a good relationship with your customer. So for me, that would mean go and see them, visit them, call them regularly, have conversations, have a coffee when they're nearby. That relationship is very important. I see that, especially with the younger generation who are more used to work, let's say through the internet, just send a message, WhatsApp or whatever message they use. To me, I keep saying that doesn't build a relationship. You have to go and see them. So our customers are abroad, so we encourage everybody who are in direct contact with them, go and see them at least once a year. Just go and meet them. So it's a bit of an expense. Go to Sweden, go to UK. And COVID, of course, has kind of made that more difficult, but in general, that's what we would do. And we'd also invite customers to come to see us. And all of them have come, and all of them kind of, like the setup and like the way we do things, but it's important. That's how you build relationships. As I would say, relationships as well as friendships. I think we really befriended a number of our customers. Good, we have a good relationship with them.
What kind of relationship you develop with the other groups like Recycle Art?
If I want to classify that, I would hope that we're developing a friendship rather than a working relationship. So even if we started Recycle Art, or together with somebody else we started Recycle Art, but previous to that, we as Turbocam had the initiative of starting the woodworks shop. I want to see the relationship is really as friends. We're building here something together. Yes, you have to make products, you have to make sales, but really also we've got to understand that we're on a mission here together to bless the nation. So let's build friendship. So I'm trying to, every time I'm in Romania, to meet at least once in 2 or 3 months with them to see how they're doing.
I want to ask you about the key activities that you are doing.
We have a number of divisions within the company with engineering. So engineering is the first stop. We have to make a product looked at. We look at drawings. We make our CNC computer controlled programs for the machines we use. That's done by engineering. And then also included of that is a quality department that takes care of all the requirements in terms of measurements and so forth that needs to be taken. And it goes to our factory floor, where they make the first sample parts. These parts are measured, checked, and often discussed with our customer, the results. And when our customer says, yeah, I'm happy with the results of the first part, then we go into production. The management team has a number of responsibilities. First of all, one is to run the show, so the day-to-day business, make sure that products are produced according to the quality that is required, and also to make sure that it's on time, it's done proper way. The other element of the management team is to look after new developments. So there's one thing that we all find very important, and that's what I've learned over the last years, even in my previous jobs as well, about you always have to look for the next thing to develop. Never stay steady with, oh, we're doing this for years and years. Always think about new products, new product lines, new customers, new ideas, new industries. And that's part of the management team. Together, we are looking at our future. We are looking at what's next, what's behind the corner. Where can we start investing in?
Please tell us something about your partner.
Our key partner is our mother company, Turbocam, in US. So the relationship that we have is that we have regular meetings via Zoom calls or team calls that we use to communicate. We have an annual meeting where at least senior management, so I go and one or two others from our company are invited then to go, and we have a week of meetings where we tell what we're doing, we tell our vision. Other divisions, because Turbocam has other divisions in the UK and in India, they come and they explain what they're up to, what their latest developments are, and so we share know-how, we share market information, we share financial information. Again, the transparency thing comes into play here. We're open, we're transparent, we show the numbers, and with that, we're really building a very strong relationship with our Turbocam members of the family.
Do you have any key suppliers in Romania or abroad?
Well, most of our suppliers, if you look at our products, are so it's the two categories. One is the actual material that we use. So these are steel suppliers, and they're in the UK or in Germany, so they're far away. It's not a very close relationship. It's just a commodity situation. We buy from them. We try to see them probably once a year. Probably more interesting one is the suppliers of our equipment. So we have a lot of very expensive equipment, CNC mills and lathes, and all of these machines are made outside of Romania. They're made in Germany, they're made in the US, but we use Romanian dealers, and we maintain quite a good relationship with those dealers because we find it's important that we get the service that we need. It's like bringing your car to a garage. You want to be sure that when you go to a garage, this guy is good. He's not cheating you, he's not robbing you, asking too much money. So we have relationships with a number of tool suppliers, machine suppliers that we really want to value and to maintain.
What key resources do you need to run this kind of business?
I'm not sure if know-how is a resource, but you need to know what you're doing, especially in the line of products that we produce. We got to understand. The other resource, of course, you mentioned money. Money is important, but not the most important, because yes, you do need money to start, but you also need to know what machines to buy and how to run those machines. You can have all the money in the world, but it doesn't mean you make a product. You can have all the know-how in the world, but if you don't have money, you can't buy the machines. So. We maintain a good relationship with the banks. We borrow from the bank. Our business is very capital intensive. We can't start a production with a few thousand euros. The machines that we have are usually a few 100,000 euros. So you can understand that financing those machines is an important element of how what we need for operating our business. So that relationship with local banks is important. We didn't have that in an instant in the very beginning, because a bank would say, well, show me your records, and when you start a new business you have no records. So we started off with loaning money from individuals and from our headquarter, and then gradually become more independent financially, where we operate with loans from banks and then one or two investors.
How did you provide capital for this business?
We started with, looking back, with a lot of, I would say, guts or faith, faith that God would be with us. So we took personal loans. I took a personal loan on my house because I had no money. Well, I had a little bit, but not a whole lot. So, but I had a house. So I mortgaged my house against buying 2 machines, and that's how it started. Because the banks wouldn't give me any money. As you started, we started with 2 machines. Gradually you get the banks looking at your numbers and say, they're getting interested in providing you loans, and this is where we are now. We have over 20 machines now, 25, I think the number is at the moment.
Thank you. If you can tell us short about the cost and revenues, and when the business became to be profitable.
What I've learned is when you start small, and your overhead is very low. And before you know it, and you have a good product, and you know what you're doing, you can make money. Not like huge amount of money, but I think the second or the third year, maybe the third year, we were running with a little profit. But then as we grew, we had to make all the money we made put into investing in new machines. And so the profit got away. Everything we did was paying for new equipment, adding more people, adding more buildings. 8 years later, then gradually we got out of that hole. And that's not uncommon for the business we're in, because it's such a high capital investment situation. So we're now profitable. We're not making huge profits, but we make enough profit to keep going and to add machines and to replace machines and add more people and grow the business.
What do you recommend to an entrepreneur that want to start a business that it need a lot of capital?
I think, if I look back, is that when you want to start something that requires a lot of capital, you need very strong partners. Because if you don't have a strong partner, it is just a battle, for many, many years to financially survive, unless you have a golden egg, unless you have something that really is unique. But in general, find good partners. I had a good partner. Our US mother company definitely have supported me all along. And if I look back, if we didn't have that mother connection, in the US, I wouldn't be able to survive. Because you have dry periods, and you need to survive during those periods with somebody behind you that can help you. So never, if you need a lot of capital, I would say never go on your own.
And looking back now, can you see some indicators that of the social and the kingdom impact? Do you measure somehow this, or do you discuss with the management team or with other partners about this?
It comes from time to time, at least in senior management, also in our discussions when we go back to America every year. The impact in the kingdom is employing people, and I think when you employ 100+ people, I would say we do make impact. It's growing. One of the things that I see is young people, young engineers are challenged. They start a family. If I look at the impact, when we started, we had a lot of people that young guys, not married, just fresh from college. Now, the majority that was started in the early days are now married. They have children. And I think that's making an impact. We supply financial stability for families.
Thank you, Onno. I'm looking forward to see you in Romania.
Thank you for the opportunity to share a little bit what's on my heart.